You know that moment when a meeting ends and instead of being done, you suddenly have 3 more jobs? Summarize the call, pull out action items, and write the follow-up email, and maybe even turn everything into a report or deck. Now, that's the part nobody talks about. So today I'm testing whether Notta Memo, and Notta Brain can actually take me from conversation to finished work. I've used plenty of meeting note tools, but most of them stop at transcription or summaries. Helpful? Yes, but still not finished work, right? So in this video, I'm going to run a real workflow. First, I'm going to capture an online meeting with Notta, then capturing an offline conversation with Notta Memo, and finally using Notta Brain to turn everything into actual deliverables, like a report, an email draft maybe, and a slide outline. Why not? We'll see. So now let me unbox this thing, then we continue. So let's see what we have here. Now here's the situation I run into all of the time, right? Now let's say I have a product feedback call in the morning. Also, maybe I have a coffee chat with a customer later, and then I need to send a recap to my team or client by the end of the day, right? Now, you know, the conversation itself, it is not the hard part. The hard part is remembering what mattered, right? So organizing it clearly and turning it into something useful before the next meeting starts. So first, I'm starting with an online Zoom call, right? I'm using Notta to record and transcribe the meeting so that I don't have to split my attention between listening and taking notes. Now, once the call ends, the recording and transcript are saved inside Notta. Now that's awesome. What I like here is that the transcript is not treated as the final result, right? It's the raw material. Notta captures the conversation, and then Notta Brain helps turn it into the next piece of work. But not every useful conversation happens on Zoom, right? Sometimes the best insights come from casual chats, customer interviews maybe, conference conversations, right? Quick one-on-ones or even phone calls when you are away from your laptop. Now that's where Notta Memo comes in, right? Notta Memo is a compact, lightweight, pocket-style recorder made for offline conversations. Now, what makes it useful is that I don't need a meeting link, a calendar invite, or any online setup to capture the moment. I can just bring it with me, press the physical button to start recording, and keep the conversation natural. For this demo, I'm using it for a quick customer coffee chat about onboarding pain points, right? So instead of typing notes while the other person is talking, I can stay present, let the device record, and then sync that recording back into Notta afterwards, right? After the conversation, the recording becomes a transcript, just like the online meeting. So now my Zoom call and my offline customer chat are both in one place, instead of scattered across voice memos, notebooks, and random docs. Now this is the part I was most interested in. Notta Brain, right? I'm going to take both conversation and ask Brain to create real outputs. For this example, I'll type create a client-ready product feedback report from these 2 conversations. Include key pain points, customer quotes, action items, risks, and suggested next steps, right? Instead of giving me just a basic summary, Brain organizes the conversation into a report format. I can see the main themes, specific customer pain points, and action items that are actually useful for my team. And then I can take the same material and ask for a slide outline. Now I have a structure for a team update deck without starting from a blank page. And finally, I can generate a follow-up email. So from one online meeting and one offline chat, I now have a report, a slide outline, and an email draft. And this is where Notta feels different from a traditional meeting note tool I've used, right? A lot of tools gives you a transcript, maybe a summary, and maybe a few action items. Now that's useful, but it still leaves me doing the next step manually, right? But with Notta, the workflow goes further. The conversation becomes a transcript, the transcript becomes a structured deliverable, and then the deliverable can move into the tool where work actually happens. So instead of ending with "here are your notes," it gets closer to "here is the report, and here's the email, here's the deck outline, and here's the next action." Awesome, right? Yes, indeed. The important part is that the workflow doesn't stop inside Notta, right? Once the output is ready, I can export or share it into the tool where the work actually continues. For example, I can push the report into Notion, maybe open an email draft or share the summary with the team. You like it? I'm sure you do. Now that's the difference between AI that summarizes and AI that helps shape the work. My honest take is this: the ecosystem makes sense because each part solves a different step of the same problem. Notta captures online meetings, Notta Memo captures offline conversations, and Notta Brain turns those conversations into something I can actually use. Could I do this with separate tools? Technically, yes. I could record in one app, transcribe in another, paste notes into ChatGPT maybe, format everything in Google Docs, and then move tasks somewhere else, right? But that creates friction, and friction is exactly why meeting follow-ups get delayed. What stood out to me is continuity. The meeting does not just become a transcript, it becomes source material for finished work. That is the key difference, and it feels less like a note-taking tool and more like a meeting execution workflow. I think Notta is best for people whose conversation create real follow-up work. UX researchers doing interviews, product managers with packed calendars, consultants sending client recaps, freelancers managing calls, and founders who need a second brain for decisions and next steps. Also, I like the fact that Notta says your data is never used for AI training, which is important if you're dealing with sensitive calls or client conversations. So that's my workflow with Notta, Notta Memo and Notta Brain. Capture the conversation, let the brain generate the deliverables, and then export the work where it needs to go. If you want to try it for your next meeting, check out Notta and let me know in the comments, do you want AI tools that just suggest what to do or tools that actually help finish the work? Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed today's case study, please drop a like and don't forget to subscribe for more videos and case studies on the best AI products or tools on the planet. Have a good one. Bye bye.